mental barriers. So starting like a group like Delta Loco, like, did you like start that group, or how did that come into being?
That all came to fruition simply because I happened to be in a certain place at a certain time. So I mean, serendipity was definitely at play in this.
But how do you go from being in the right place at the right time? How do you go from that to getting your first paid gig?
You've always formed your own bands. I've usually just jumped towards opportunities that I saw as potentially fortuitous. If you don't have anything concrete that you're already engaged in, don't say no to a new opportunity.
Yeah.
Simply go in with a completely unbiased opinion and actually explore it. So for me with Delta Loco, I just had to be working in a place where one of my like best friends, he was a percussionist, and that his best friend was a songwriter and guitar player, and they were in desperate need of a bass player.
But so like for me at that point, I would say, hey, you guys got any recordings? I know they kind of had a CD at that point already, right? But
I heard.
How does that get you to the first rehearsal? Like, what do you?
To me,
because we're talking to people here who are thinking about starting something, who want to be in a band, they want to start a band. They just don't know that very first step.
You have to get together first.
So you got to actually make sure that four people can get in one place at the same time, and that can often be the most challenging thing.
It can be the make or break thing. It absolutely can.
How do you get over that ego and actually get to a point where you're calling a guy and say, hey man, let's just get together and jam? Like, what's the mentality for that?
That's slowly built connections, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I believe that. I believe that if it is the kind of thing where, like Delta Loco is a poor example of this, only because, I mean, for many reasons, obviously.
They have no connections.
Right. No connections. Everything was, which is beautiful.
But
that's
where everybody starts, though, guys.
We all had different ideas on how to market, and sometimes those ideas clashed. We couldn't do two ideas because one idea might contradict the other,
right.
And that's a very difficult balance to maintain, because in order to pursue one idea, you might have to reject another because it doesn't work with the one that you're trying to pursue. If you have a very staunch opinion of how you want a song that you wrote to sound, and you can't make compromises on it, well, then perhaps
setting yourself up for disappointment.
You're setting yourself up for disappointment. Absolutely. If that is the case, and you really do have strong enough opinions about how you want a song that you wrote to sound, well, then you need to form your own band around the song and around the genre. But you won't get to a point where you have opinions that are that strong until you've worked with a strenuous amount of occasionally conflicting egos and conflicting mentalities.
I don't think the problem is that people, their opinions are too strong. I think the problem is that their opinions aren't quite strong enough. You need to have a vision first before you can see if the rest of the band accepts and agrees with that vision. And when everybody in the band either has no vision or they have different visions, you not only are you setting yourself up for disappointment, but you're setting yourself up for failure. You're going to have to make that mistake and learn that lesson anyway. So that's why I was hoping that people would watch this and maybe get that, if nothing else, out of this stream. We just want to illuminate some aspects that are maybe not so pretty about this business, so that if you see what we've been through, maybe you're 1% less likely to make that same mistake. But understand that you're going to still make mistakes. I mean, I've made so many mistakes.
It might not be the same one, but mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah, I can speak for my own bands that whenever my vision was weaker, it had nothing to do with the rest of the band and the idea of a democracy. It has to do with the idea of, if you have a musical director and you have somebody that's supposed to be kind of the leader or the director, they're the ones that are responsible for having that vision, and it's the rest of the guys' job to kind of fall in line with that and enhance that. And they don't have to agree with everything you say, but they have to their opinions at some point have to align with what's the best way to achieve that vision. And so that's what I've seen in my own experience, is that when my vision starts to get cloudy, nobody else in the band has anything to grab onto. And so they start getting their own visions. It adds to dysfunction. It adds to people, their egos getting bigger because they feel like they don't have a team to be a part of anymore. So sometimes you have to just assert yourself and make that opinion known. And not that that's the best thing to do in every circumstance, but you have to feel that out when that's the correct thing to do.
You have to be able to do it when it's necessary.
You have to be willing to make that mistake, I think. You have to be willing to be wrong. And you have to accept the fact that you are probably wrong about over half of the things that you do, especially when you're starting something new. 'Cause that's what we're really talking about here. We're talking about starting a band. We're talking about booking that first show, arranging that first rehearsal. Like, you have to be willing to be wrong about this stuff. You have to be willing to rehearse at the wrong spot and get screwed for rehearsal fees or get yelled at by people's moms. You know, you have to make that commitment in order to even get that far.